Can you believe that 6 yards of fabric will make all of this? Let me show you how with our new book. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Café. You've been asking for patterns for home projects like pillows and table runners and more. I'm very excited to announce our new book, Make It Home with 3-Yard Quilts. In this book, there are 7 new patterns. Each of them have instructions for a lap-size quilt and 2 different home projects. Let's take a look at the first quilt and I'll show you what I mean. Now this is the Cotillion quilt, and this is a really cool quilt. It's got lots of good features on it. But first and obviously is this massive snowball block right here, which shows off a beautiful fabric, and you know how easy these are to do because they're just a stitch and flip in the corner. And I think it's really great in between these 2 other blocks. Now, this block here is made with half square triangles, and what I really like about it is how this is turned in such a way so that the points are the number 2 fabric, but here they're the number 3 fabric. So it's like this reverse effect, which I think is kind of cool. It creates a lot of movement and a lot of cool design. And of course, these all come together, creating this diagonal line both directions. Super cool. Lots of fun to do. Let's get it on the table and talk about this gorgeous fabric. Let's start out by showing you the blocks and cropping it out so that you can see how easy it is to put together. So our first one, I'm going to crop one of the easier blocks. It is our block C, which is our snowball block, and it has our number 3 fabric in the corners of the snowball. So as you can see right here, basically we have a nice big square of fabric here, and all we've done is use our stitch and flip on the corners with our number 3 fabric. Now let's talk about our block A, because it's a fun block. I really enjoyed putting this together because, you know, I love the movement that all the half square triangles creates, and whenever you start putting them together and moving the colors around, it's very cool. Okay. Here is our block A, and as you can see, we have lots of half square triangles. I'm going to break this down for you. The first part I want to show you is the corners. We have a half square triangle here, and if you notice, it is also here and here in this corner, and turn all this around, and here. Very simple. Then we're going to make 3 units using half square triangles. I'm going to pull this up here, and it's right here. So this unit has a square and 3 half square triangles. And of course the book shows you diagrams how very simple this unit is to put together. We're using the unit here on the side. We are using it again right here on the opposite side. The exact same unit. Now, we're going to make that same unit again, but we're going to change the colors up just a little bit. And that's the top and bottom part. So we have one here, and as you can see, we've just rotated our half square triangles so that it makes the little point of the star from our number 2 instead of our number 3. Then we're going to use that same unit again right up here. Now we do have a center unit, and this is kind of cool. This kind of is what glues it all together to create that amazing star. And as you can see here, we have 4 half square triangles put together. And it's almost like we've put them together so they're just kind of kissing noses there, and it just makes the perfect center. So put these blocks together and wow, what a dynamic quilt, and all of the movement in this quilt. And you get to show off a gorgeous focus fabric, which I love. I love a nice big block for that. Okay, now our extra projects, very cool. Let's start off by showing you the table runner. Now the table runner has used our block A, and we've put it together. I'm going to open this up for you so that you can see how amazing this is. I really like how the blocks come together. We've put some nice borders on it, and it is really going to be a great feature piece in your home. And then we have 2 pillows here. Now, are these not just exquisite? You can see how our beautiful half square triangles all come together to make our block A, and it makes such a focal point in the center of the pillow. Now, a couple of things I want to mention on this. We do change our borders up with our projects, and I'll show you the instructions in just a minute so that you can kind of see how we've done this and laid this out. And then these are pillow covers, so they're just slipped in the back and your pillow is in there. Now, I have quilted my pillows. I love a quilted pillow cover. I think it just gives it a little extra body, a little extra luxury to it, and it's really nice. Now, you don't have to quilt it. It looks so good not quilted, but I really love the extra body that the quilting gives it. This overlapped back. On this inside part, because the quilting is layered just like a quilt, you have a top fabric and an underneath fabric with some batting in there. This can be scrap, and this can be scrap, because you're not going to see it. It's all going to be tucked up in that pillow. And even the front of the pillow is quilted, and it has a piece of fabric behind it too. So that sandwich is there of the top, the batting, and the fabric. You're not going to see that backing fabric either, so you can use a scrap, which is really great. All right, now let's talk about all these backings on here. Our lap quilts, as you know, use 3 yards of fabric, and it makes all the front, the borders, and the binding beautifully. But you need to add an additional 3 yards for backing fabric. On our projects, 3 yards of fabric will make the dresser scarf, the pillows, but it does not make the backings. You'll need to add the extra 3 yards of fabric for those backings. Now, if you're going to quilt your pillow, remember I said you can use scraps for those insides? You just need a little extra. I want to show you how this is laid out. Our 3-yard quilt patterns always have our cutting instructions for the lap quilt, step-by-step instructions with diagrams, very easy. For our projects, we have set those aside. We have a nice photo for you and separate cutting instructions for the dresser scarf and the pillow, or whatever project this particular one is making. Makes it super easy, so just pay attention to those separate cutting instructions, and it's going to tell you exactly what size to cut the backings and everything that you need. Okay, let's look at this gorgeous fabric because this is really, really pretty. Love the colors on this fabric, the beautiful autumnal colors, the reds, the golds, the burgundies. This is our focus fabric, and as you can see, it goes in this big snowball here as well as a little bit on the border of the quilt. So, so pretty. We have paired our focus fabric with a number 2 that is it's like a tone-on-tone leaf pattern. So that is our number 2 fabric in the background here. And I really think it helps carry the theme very subtly. Then for our number 3, we have put this gorgeous brown with it that coordinates so beautifully with our focus fabric. But once again, it's a little bit subtle, so it pretty much reads as a brown. And this is what we've used to make all of our half square triangles on our alternate block here, as well as a little on the border. I think it just comes together so gorgeous. I would love to hear if you love it as much as I do. The kit information on this one is called Reflections of Autumn. And once again, it is our Cotillion pattern from the Make It Home with 3-Yard Quilts book. Now, one of my most favorite things on a quilt is a beautiful star. And this is our countryside pattern, and it has this great sashed star here, which I really love. Put together very easily with 4 units, a little strip piece in the middle with a little peekaboo of our focus fabric. Now our focus fabric is showcased beautifully in the alternate block. It's bordered by our number 3, a good size to show off some beautiful fabric, and it's all on a nice cream background. Very, very fun, very traditional, and it feels so very homey. So let's get it on the table and check it out a little bit closer. First, we have a table runner, and we have used our blocks and alternated them to make this beautiful runner. You see how it's really nice size, and I can see it on a summertime festive table. I think it'll be great. And while this is on the table, just creating the wonderful ambiance of a summer party, this can be hanging up. This is our wall hanging. This is our extra project. Loved how the 4 stars came together. I think it really is going to add that little extra something for your home whenever you're planning a celebration or you just want to cozy up your home a little bit. So we have our fabric here on the table, and look at this focus fabric. Such a beautiful red background with these florals on it. So as our focus fabric, we've really set it off with this block here, and it's sashed with our number 3, so it really stands out. And it looked really great in that table runner too. I really liked it. We have a little bit of it on the binding as well here. Then our number 2 fabric is a nice beige, has just a tiny little vine print on it. It really pops against our number 3 and our number 1 fabric, but it keeps it really warm and cozy. And I love it in the background here and a little bit on the border. Then for our number 3, we added a little whimsy with a polka dot, and this is a polka dot surrounded by polka dots, which is kind of fun. Brings in the red in the center of that polka dot, and that is what our stars are made with here, as well as the border on our block here. All right, let's get you the kit information on this. It is called Garden Haven. Once again, the quilt is called Countryside, and it's from our brand new book, Make It Home with 3-Yard Quilts. Now, this is our Fanciful quilt, and of course, I love it because it has another star in it, but also I thought the block came together so beautifully, and it creates like this chain effect across the surface of the quilt. It creates that diagonal line with our stars scattered in between. I think it just came together beautifully. Now, I thought that the design and the piecing was so dynamic that I absolutely wanted to use this for a wall hanging because it's going to look great. I'm going to show you. And it also made a beautiful table runner. So we can just line our blocks up and we get all of this great movement. And let's get it on the table so you can see too. I want to show you the block because this looks really intricate and the block kind of disappears once it's all put together, which is pretty cool because it creates that neat chain. Let me show you. So the first block is the star block. So the star block is actually a very simple block. We have 4 units here that create the points of our star, and they're on the top and bottom and the sides. Now we have just a solid square in the middle, and on each corner of this block we have a half square triangle. Now our joining block, look at this. Okay, this is the coolest block I think, and how it all comes together is amazing. The first thing we have is a very simple strip assembly. Now, it is just like this, 3 pieces of fabric that are sewn together because they're long strips, and then we put strips on the sides, so we basically have a square and a square, okay? Then we're gonna do another strip assembly that goes on the top and bottom. And as you can see, it's 3 bits of fabric here, 3 long strips that we sewn together, and we cut them into units and put them on the top and the bottom. And then on the sides, we have a 3rd strip assembly made with a little bit different measurements, the same colors. Now what this does is just puts that little bit of focused fabric right on the corners of the block, surrounding it. And when we put this all together, you see how it creates this really cool shape with the half square triangle from the star block, the corners of our square block. It's just so cool, and it creates that really neat like chain effect across the surface of the quilt. Now, we have put this in 2 projects that are amazing. The first one is our table runner here. And I'm gonna hold this up, and we've used our star block and our square block there alternately just to create something really interesting that's going to look beautiful in the center of your table, on a dresser or sideboard even, or a buffet serving at Christmas. Wouldn't that be fun? Also, we have our wall hanging here. You can see we have all of our stars and our square blocks there, and they all come together creating that chain pattern. And I just can see this hanging at holiday, but you know what? I could see this made in other fabrics too, celebrating another season. It's such an interesting dynamic pattern and piecing project. I think it's really a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about this fabric because this is some Fran holiday fabric here, if there ever wasn't. I love these marbly, swirly prints. We have our reds and our greens, lots of different shades of reds and greens in this. And then our gold is just swirling throughout it. And as you can see, it goes right in the center of our star, as well as on both of our blocks, our half square triangle and these corners, and then a nice helping of it right here on the border. Really a beautiful, beautiful fabric. We have paired it with a number 2 that has more gold. You know, you can't have too much gold, right? So our number 2 really sets off our focus fabric and our number 3. It is a nice contrast, but it keeps all that shimmery goodness going on. Then for our number 3, we have this green that has a lot of depth to it. Lots of lights and darks on it so that it looks like it has some movement, a little bit of, like you could reach into it a little bit. I kind of like that. This is our green, that's our points, our square here, and on our border. It really gives a nice pop against the red and the cream, and I think it frames it beautifully. All right, let me get you the kit information on this. It is Marble Magic. The quilt is called Fanciful from our brand new book, Make It Home with 3-Yard Quilts. Now this quilt is called a Forget-Me-Not, of course, because we have these fun forget-me-nots on the surface. It is a whole garden full of fun flowers. What's great about this flower is it's made with a stitch and flip method, which goes together so super fast. And I really love that. That's created our petals here. And then we've alternated it with a square with this 4-patch in the middle right here that's just bordered. And I love how all of the colors come together, how our alternate block really sets off our flower block. And it really is absolutely a darling quilt. So let's get it on the table and check out some fabric. We have a bed runner, which, you know, these are what goes on the end of the bed just for a little extra color in your home. And this one is a really, really nice size. We've used both blocks in it, just alternated, so that, like I said, it gives you a really great pop at the end of the bed. So this one is awesome. Okay, and then we have these really sweet pillows. Can't you just see these on a bed? We've used both of our blocks in the pillows. We've alternated them, and I just think that they turned out darling. Now, these two are quilted to give it that extra luxurious look. And tell you what, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell, because we're going to be doing a sew-along, stepping through exactly how we've made this and how to quilt it and finish it off. So you're not going to want to miss that. All right, our number 1 fabric in our Forget-Me-Not quilt is gorgeous. It is blues and turquoises and greens, and it looks like it's been watercolored and splattered and just gorgeous. Now, we have used this in our block here in the middle of our 4-patch as part of that. We've bordered it here and on the border of the quilt. Now that gives us a little bit of touch of color all throughout. For our number 2 fabric, we've used this gorgeous fabric that shades from blue to pink with a little bit of a swirly floral pattern on it. Makes the perfect backdrop for our flower here and gives us a little bit of light right in the middle of that 4-patch. Now for our number 3 fabric, we have used this geometric print that is rich in color and really contrasts with our focus fabric. And we've used the number 3 in our flower, which is a little bit unusual, but we really wanted the flower to pop off the quilt, so we used the darkest color. And as you can see here, it works fabulously. And just to add that little touch, we do have our focus fabric right in the center of our flower. And this is a beautiful kit. It is called Wisteria Mist, and it is our Forget-Me-Not pattern from the Make It Home with 3-Yard Quilts. Now this quilt is called Mayfair, and guess what? It's a 1-block quilt. It's so cool how it comes together. So we start by just doing a strip assembly right here with our focus fabric and our number 3 on each side. Then we put our number 3 on the other side, so we completely surround our focus fabric with our number 3 fabric. And then we put this really cool border on it where we have half square triangles on the corner here. And when they come together, they create this really neat diamond pattern. And you know what I really like about this is that it keeps our focus fabric here in the center with a little peekaboo of our number 2 in there. It's really fun. And you know, this pattern is going to accept so many different kinds of fabrics. I can see this in so many ways. I think it's going to be a new go-to. Let's get it on the table. So here we have a table runner. And isn't this exquisite? I really like the way the squares fall in the center of this and adds so much springtime joy to your table. Really, really like the way this came together. Now, for our other projects, we have placemats. Now, the 3-yard kit will make all 4 placemats and a table runner. So didn't this turn out great? And of course, the instructions are going to step through exactly how to put this together. Really love how this looks. And our focus fabric has so many colors in it, and it has all of these medallions that almost look like they're jewels, which I think is really cool. Our focus fabric is highlighted in the center of this square here, which is perfect. So no matter what focus fabric you choose, you're going to border it with your number 3 and it's going to look fantastic. So for our number 2 fabric, we've used this gorgeous turquoise, which is a little unusual because, you know, usually we put a much lighter color, and this one is the lightest of the 2 remaining, but it still works because it coordinates so well with our focus fabric and our number 2. As you can see, it is our background here. It's on all those borders of the block. Then our number 3 is this yummy royal blue. And you can see how great it goes together with our focus fabric. You can see it borders it here a little in our diamonds, you know, the way our blocks come together, creating this. Have it here and a little on the border. We put so many things into this book. It is so full of so much. 3-yard quilts, projects made with 3 yards, but we have not left out our enlargements. They are also in the book. So as you know, 1 kit will make a lap size quilt, 2 kits will make a twin size, and 4 kits will make a queen king. All of the instructions are included in this book as well. Now let me get you the kit information for this. It is called Majestic Medallions, and this is our Mayfair quilt pattern. Now I love a good row quilt, and this is a really cool one. It is called Promenade. Now why do I love a good row quilt? Because it shows off your fabric so well in these big strips. So you can put a really big fabric print in there, but it also makes it so fast to get that number 1 fabric cut. Now we have alternated our solid rows here with a really cool alternating block. So we have a star block here, and then we've alternated it with a rectangle block here with some half square triangles. And what's really cool is we've put our focus fabric in this little spot here so that it looks like it just kind of all blends together. And it kind of looks like lace, which is kind of what I was going for. And of course we have our really fun star. So let's get it on the table and check it out a little closer. And I want to crop this out for you so that you can see exactly how we've done this. So to make this pieced row, we've basically just alternated the star block here with this little block here. And what this is a square here, and then a unit with 2 half square triangles and 2 half square triangles. Now we used our focus fabric in this little part, top and bottom, so that when it's sewn together, it looks like all this kind of blends together, and it gives your eye the illusion of that little bit of a lacy effect or a little scalloped effect on your star row, which I think is so cool. I think it just really tricks the eye. And you don't realize that it's just a row quilt and it's just a pieced row there, which is great. I love it. All right, let's look at the projects for this because this turned out great. I really love that we were able to take this and do this scarf here. So what we have is we have our stars down the middle, and then we've put our focus fabric on the top and bottom of it there so that it really helps accentuate that little scalloped edge that we've created with our piecing. I think it turned out perfect, and I love the stars. Now we have paired this with a lumbar pillow, which is different and really nice. We have our 2 stars on this with our pieced block in the middle to give us that little scalloped edge. And sometimes a little lumbar pillow is just what you need for the perfect topper on a sofa, in a chair, or even in your bedroom. So now let's talk about our gorgeous focus fabric here. This is a very large print floral on this, and it's on a navy background. This row quilt, this big area here, is really gonna show this fabric off. Now it also is in these little half square triangles right here in that rectangular block like we were just talking about, and a little peekaboo right in the middle of our star that gives our star just a little extra interest. Now we've paired it with a number 2 that is a nice off-white, but it has little speckles of all the colors from the flowers. But the cream still helps the stars pop off the surface. Really love that. Now our number 3 is kind of a duplicate of our number 2, but it is a navy background with all of the speckles. I love to pick up the background color in the focus fabric for the number 3 because I know that it's gonna work really well. And in this case it has. As you can see, we've used it on the points of our star, as well as our little scalloped edge here to give us that separation between our floral and our star row here. And it frames the quilt really nicely on a border. So I think it works really great together. I love the way the speckles pick up all those floral colors. It's really a lot of fun. All right, the name on this kit is called Blue Crush, and it's our Promenade pattern. Now there's nothing more fun than a one block, and a one block that's made with strip piecing. I absolutely love this one. This is called Regency. And this block here, it is so super cool. It is kind of here. This square is right in the center, and as you can see, we've put a really beautiful bold print in there, which really highlights that area. Then we just have some strip piece rectangles on top, bottom, and sides, and a little half square triangle that's bordered. Now, when it all comes together, it creates this secondary block right here with a little diamond in the middle that is so cool. I love it whenever we can design a block and put them together and it creates that secondary pattern. And it makes beautiful, beautiful home projects. Let's get it on the table and check them out. Now the projects for this, we have another scarf here. Let me pick this up and show you. And this one really kind of shows off how the one block is made. And you can see when you line them up, it creates all this cool movement on the scarf. And that's still that center block with that pop of color is there. For the other additional project, we have this really beautiful pillow. Now we have our block right in the center. We've bordered it with some of our other fabrics, our 2 and 3 fabrics, and I just think it's so, so striking and creates such a statement. Now we have our really striking fabric kit on the table here. This fabric number 1, this focus fabric, is gorgeous. It's a very large scale floral print that has every color under the sun. It really is dramatic and gorgeous. This fabric is what is in the center of our square here, as well as on our little corner blocks to create this square, and then some on the border just to unify all of that color beautifully. Love this fabric. Now for our number 2, we kept it really warm and dramatic with this nice beige. Just gives it a little bit of dimension. You can see we've used it in our strip piece areas as well as our half square triangles, just to give a really nice backdrop for our number 3 fabric, because our number 3 fabric is this rich, rich red. It has a lot of movement in it. I think it really adds such a dramatic touch to our Regency pattern here, and the red really pulls the reds out of our focus fabric. I think it's really striking. All right, let me get you the kit information for this. It is called Vintage Botanicals, and once again, it's our Regency pattern from Make It Home with 3-Yard Quilts. Are you excited to have home project patterns? Which one was your favorite? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear them. And if you would like to get some tips on making half square triangles to help out with some of these patterns, be sure to watch the video that pops up. Happy quilting.